rolling.
We are rolling. We are rolling.
Okay.
And relax. What was that then? What was that? There. Hi, I'm Kyle. This is Smile with Kyle, and this is Mark Elliot. Mark has come to see me today, and we're going to talk about what Mark does, what Mark has been through. Mark is now a holistic therapist, among other things, and he's just going to tell us about it.
I will tell you all about myself now. First of all, Kyle, thank you for inviting me today. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. And considering we only just met about 3 weeks ago.
That's right.
An amazing experience because we met in Penny Park, and it was a day, rather like today, which is a damp day, and there was a meeting going on there, and the only two people that turned up, and it actually didn't rain, did it?
No.
It was me and you.
That's right.
So it was a chance meeting, and I think that chance meeting was meant to be. I always believe things are meant to be, as I said to you before, and we walked around the park with your dog for a good hour and a half, and we spoke, and we just got on like that, sort of, didn't we?
We did. It was one of those things, the universe bringing you together.
That's exactly what happens, and I think you've got to go with the flow of the universe on this, and I definitely feel that you were in the right place at the right time, and so was I, and it was just meant to be.
Well, the place that you specifically was on a swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I think if you was sitting on a bench or whatever, I probably. But he was on a swing, and I said that's the best place to be on a. I think it was a Sunday morning.
Sunday morning,
yeah.
And I was on the swing because I was waiting around, and there was nobody was showing, and everybody said they were coming weren't going to come the day before because the Saturday was absolutely hammering down.
Yeah.
And the only persons that turned up is you and myself, and Carl was there momentarily.
Right, Carl did come.
But Carl, I was only had to go, and it was just left to me and you.
Yeah, that's right.
And it was a phenomenal conversation we had, and we just sort of, as I said, we struck it off straight away, and we talked for. We must have been there a good hour and a half, and we talked, and we went around in circles with the dog. I think the dog was getting giddy. But it's interesting as well because the part, that's the part, you know, I was born in Pennygreg, brought up in Pennygreg, so it's my hometown anyway. And the park, I was on the swings while I was waiting. I thought, well, you know, it's become a child again because, you know, I was in that park on swings when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it's quite ironic, really. So the whole thing sort of fell into place. And anyway, about myself, you know, as I said, I was born in Pennygreg, and I was born and brought up in Pennygreg all my life. I left home when I was 17 to become a professional footballer. I went to Brighton, and I was there for 3 years, and I came back to Cardiff City. The football side of it, and I did play professional. I played a handful of first team games for a couple of the clubs, but circumstances and injuries and things, and it didn't quite work out the way I wanted to work out. But then I can't honestly say, at least I gave it a shot.
Well,
You know what I mean? And it's a lot more, you know, more than other people have done. So it was always my dream as a child. I mean, I wasn't really interested in school. I wanted to kick the ball around. I wanted to be out playing, doing things. I wasn't interested in school at all.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that was my dream, and I sort of lived my dream to a certain degree. But you know, things go wrong in our lives. It doesn't always work out, and I think there was a few things within the football probably affected me as well. I was a young lad from the valleys and moved away from the valleys, a little bit shy and whatever, and probably mentally tough enough to cope with some of the stuff that went on within the football. It was quite cutthroat at that time as well, so that probably didn't help me. So and there was an element of bullying that went on even in football then, you know. There was a couple of people within, you know, were always sort of
the little clique.
They were trying to bring you down and this, that and the other, but hey ho, that's just the way things work out. I mean, I carried on playing amateur football for quite some years, and locally, and obviously met my wife, got married, worked in various jobs, insurance. There's not much I haven't done actually, Kyle. You know, I've driven taxis, you name it. I've done just about everything. But you know, to the point actually, we built a really good catering business. We started a catering business off together, and unfortunately, we got to a point in our lives with 3 children, great kids. They've done their own thing. They're out there doing great things in their lives. They're living their own lives. Yeah. So they're all fine. They, you know, they done really well.
All nice and healthy.
They're all healthy. They're all fine. But you know, we got to a point in the marriage where we were running the business together. My ex-wife sort of really went off the rails a little bit, and I think something happened to, you know, who knows what happened to her, but she went off the rails a little bit, and it caused
a breakdown of relationship.
Yeah. She wanted to go pastures new, etc., etc. And cut a long story short, really, she left, and I had the 3 children with me. it was mutual. Because but I actually did go through some real trauma at that time, real emotional trauma.
So what coping mechanisms and strategies did you develop and use to push through that kind of stuff?
During that time, I think to be honest, I think it was just I mean, I was up and down quite a bit, you know, and but I just knew, because the 3 children were left with me, they were sort of at the time 14, 15 and 16, 17 and that sort of age. The most important thing was that I had to manage to make sure they were fine.
Yeah.
To the point that they were still in the same school, still in the same house. You know, I didn't want to break anything.
Yeah, not to disrupt too much.
So, and that paid dividends, but I think because of that focus, and yes, there were ups and downs in that, and I went through quite a bit of turmoil.
Yeah.
And I went through quite
Did it go a bit of self-destruct mode as well?
Yeah, a couple of times, you know, like I'm not a drinker, I never have been because I've been a sports person all my life, but I had a few drinks at one time, and a few breakdowns, and a lot of tears, and a lot of upset and one thing or that. But you know, eventually we got to the point where we resolved our differences. My ex-wife, you know, basically she ended up, she had the business, I kept the house.
Yeah.
And
just become more amicable.
And it became more amicable, and but what it did for me, Kyle, was just give me the opportunity to, when I got past most of that, was to change direction.
Yeah.
And go into the fields that I was always interested, because I was being a sports person. It was like a common sense thing for me, because I always kept fit anyway, and I wasn't a drinker, not a smoker. I was quite a healthy person anyway, from that background.
Yeah.
So it was common sense for me to move into sort of the health industry.
Yeah.
The fitness and health industry. I'd done a 3-month course as a personal trainer. I'd done some massage therapy within that, nutrition. And I did some personal training for a number of years, one-to-one with people.
Yeah. So how did the spiritualistic side come into it?
I think I've always been quite intuitive anyway. You know, I've always been quite intuitive. I get a sense of always a knowing. Do you know when you have this knowing that, you know, it's just you can't explain it sometimes, but it is a spiritual type of thing. I think, an intuitive knowing of certain things. And it's just I did the personal training. It was fantastic. I had a great time doing that with people. What I did find was, what got me more interested in human behaviour and the human mind was when I would training people for 3 months and getting fantastic results, and I would say, look, you don't need me anymore, because I've taught you what to do.
Yeah.
And you know, you go off and you just repeat now on your own what you've done with me.
And then you learn other things and build on top of that.
But what I found, 90% of the people 3 months later will ring me back up again. Can I come back training with you? Because they hadn't
just a refresher kind of thing.
That really hit home with me, because that actually taught me then to say, hang on a sec, there's something's got to be going on in there.
Yeah.
Why aren't they doing that? And that really got me thinking more down to the human mind and what happens with our belief systems, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And I went more and more. I read books after books after books in that field. I'd done quite a few courses. I went on to study hypnotherapy, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. I've done that. I've done life coaching courses. I've done, you know, so many courses. I've probably been on, you know, like a Grand National run. I've been around the course I don't know how many times. So, but what it taught me was, you know, was to be more in the moment, more spiritual, to try to understand human behaviour and what goes on in the human mind, and why people behave in certain ways. And really, it's all about what's gone on in the past. Because all what's gone on in the past is manifesting itself in the moment in time right now. So when we discussed this before, I made the analogy, because, you know, being a modern day, we can talk
with how your brain works.
Yeah, your brain works very much like a computer.
Yeah.
It's just processing the information that you put in there. And if you've got, like your laptop, if you've got viruses in your laptop, what do?
You reboot.
You delete the viruses.
Yeah.
Now, imagine if you had the viruses of the mind that are actually in your mind and actually are controlling your outcomes in this present moment in time. Now, basically speaking, that's living in the past really, but it's your mind. And the more you gain control of your mind and you run it, it's magnificent. It'll give you what you want.
But because it's a bit of a oxymoron really, where, like you said, you've done all the different coaching things, but the being in the moment is so simplistic, and it's that fine line of the calm in the chaos kind of thing.
Absolutely, you know, and it is, you know, we are here right now doing this interview, and this is the only moment. This is now. And if we are sitting here tomorrow, it's still going to be now.
Yeah.
So, you know, so we do live in the past. Now, there's nothing wrong with having our past there, because it serves a great purpose, for argument's sake. If you look at it from a computer point of view, like when you download a program into your computer, your computer's going to run that program in the background, and it's going to run, and you're going to think, oh, isn't this fantastic? It's doing this for me, without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
You can imagine your brain being the same thing, but you've been installed a duff program or a virus that's giving you the wrong results.
And you've got these little things that are creeping around which you don't know about, and so it's...
And you know, inevitably they'll sabotage you, they'll come back to haunt you. It's almost like saying, I'm going to do this, and your unconscious mind or your program mind is saying, no, you're not, we've always done it this way.
Is that what they call that imposter syndrome, is it?
Yeah, that's the imposter living within.
Right.
You know, so gaining control of your own mind, and when it comes to things like mental health, it's an interesting point. You know, never to be derogatory, because people do suffer from problems with mental health, but we have to be extremely careful we don't get labelled with that.
Yeah.
For our lifetime.
Well, that's more stigma.
Yeah.
Then, innit? Because if you were labelled or whatever, don't diagnose yourself with something through somebody else's misinterpretation or lack of understanding about certain illnesses.
Yeah, and you know, this is what I do now these days. I work with people today. People say to me, who's your client? I said, everybody. Yeah. Every single human being. Like, nobody has gone through nobody's gone through the life experience to where they are right now, no matter how old you are, whether you're 15, 25, 55, nobody has gone through that and tarnished. Something has happened to us, a trauma, or something has happened to us, and it can, that trauma, those little viruses, so to speak, they could be small, they could be huge, it doesn't matter what they are. So that law of attraction is basically, as I said, it's what you give out comes back. What you give is what you get.
You put out good stuff, you get good stuff back.
But if your mind is constantly on a loop, so to speak, going over the stuff from the past, and it's running in the background, faulty programs like a computer in the background. If it was your laptop or your computer, you'd say, I got to do something about this because this isn't working for me. I'm sitting here, it's taking 45 minutes to load up, it's driving me nuts.
And some of those thoughts, which you don't know about, can potentially be hereditary sometimes, can't they?
Yeah, they can be.
Like phobias. So it'll be something that could be passed on from your nan to your mum to you, and you don't know why you were scared of flipping dogs.
I've come across that with heights as well with people.
Right.
And I would say to them, look, let's go back and have a little look now. You're struggling with heights. I said, well, you know, what happened to you? Did something happen to you when you were 10 or something? And maybe you looked down and went, you know, who knows? And some people can't recall anything, but it has been passed down.
Yeah, there's something
genetically.
There. And that's why it's important to talk to your parents, your grandparents about those kind of things that have happened, because although it's more coming to an era now where it's okay to talk. Do you know what I mean? Andy's Man Club, every Monday 7 p.m. It's come to that point in time now where it has been for the last couple of years, but it's developing, it's snowballing now, isn't it? With talking more and getting everything off your chest.
But that's the oldest saying in the book, get off your chest, isn't it? It's good to talk, and I think, you know, when it comes to not talking, you're only repressing, you're pushing it down, and you're bottling up the emotions within inside you. And with repression, becomes depression, and then you create isolation. You know, and it's all about getting out there and talking to people and sharing your stories with people, and getting somebody to listen to you.
Yeah, because you're not alone.
That's
the most important thing as well. When
huge.
You're feeling alone and you're like, this doesn't feel great, I'm just going to stay in the house. Best thing to do is talk to your friends.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Get it, just as I say, get it off your chest, you know. And it's what I do with my clients now, because as I say, I've done hypnotherapy, and I've also done Havening techniques, which is quite a new therapy. It's only about 20 years old.
Right.
And Paul McKenna uses it quite a bit for PTSD.
You
know.
Yeah.
And I use it phenomenally. It's fantastic. You know, that with hypnotherapy and a bit of NLP. But generally speaking, when I work with somebody, I want to know their story. I want to know it's like a history take. So I can spot, I think that's why you got the problem with that, because that happened to you at that age, and that happened to you, and then I can specifically work on that thing. And if you can eliminate that or change the meaning of that, it's huge, because there's a cascading effect that goes upwards. And all of a sudden, everything, it's like having a burden lifted up.
But there's obviously the significant point to that is, wanting to do something about the way that you're feeling, because that's the first step, isn't it?
It's always the first step, isn't it? The old saying is that you can lead the horse to water, but you can't get it to drink. Because at the end of the day, our bodies are quite clever, really, because at the end of the day, we have a denial system.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the denial system, if you're having a real bad experience of trauma, it tends to push things down because you can't cope with it all in one go.
Yeah.
But sometimes that pushes you down, locks it away, and never comes back out again.
Well, that's, it comes into like recognizing flaws, looking at yourself openly and honestly, and It is actually facing things sometimes, and actually somebody coming up to me and say, I got this going on, blah, 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 and I will simply say, look, would you like help with that? Because if you're ready to be helped with that, I can help you with that. Yeah.
But you've got to say to me, I'm ready to be helped. And that may mean a tough decision for somebody to actually say, well, yes, please help me, because they may have to go through one or two things while we do the treatment and adjustments to clear the things out. Basically, we've got to clear it out. We've got to clear all the viruses, and we need to upgrade your brain.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do with it. If you had a laptop when he was 25 years old, and you haven't upgraded that, you're sort of out to date, You're going to
need somebody to look at it,
you're going to either have to buy a new one, so this is a waste of time, it's taking me ages to do anything, I'm going to have to upgrade this, but let's upgrade our brains, let's upgrade our minds, but let's recognise things for what they are, let's find the root cause of the problem, which caused the cause and effect, because once you've got the cause there, it gives you the effect.
Yeah, you've got that.
If we can delete that, or delete it, or remove it, or change the meaning of it. This is what we do within Havening. It's particularly good at that, because we look at two aspects within Havening, two distinctive aspects. One is the vulnerable landscape of the mind, which means you've had a lot of traumas through your life, and when you've got one trauma, right, the next trauma comes along, you don't deal with it very well. So it's vulnerability after each other. Or the other part of the mind is a resilient part of the mind.
Yeah.
So if you've been, I have to say, I was pretty blessed as a youngster.
The fight or flight kind of.
Yeah. I think I was quite blessed as my mother was fantastic, one fantastic mother. My father was a great provider. We had a really stable home. I lived in Pennygrag. I was out and about, because I'm 62 years of age. I was out and about doing exactly what I wanted to do. And my mother was particularly good at nurturing and covering up anything that was going on in the background, because we are so we're so influenced by our environment. If you're brought up in an environment where there's a lot of fighting and arguing and and violence within the family, then that's going to affect you. But my mother was very, 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 very astute at protecting her two sons, because I got a brother as well. And I think that helped me to a certain degree. But then I had a bit of bullying in school that I had to go through. I had to sort of stand up for myself. So I've been through the ups and downs, but I think I built more resilience within me. So if something happens, and through the things I've had down the years and what I've learned, I've built more resilience. So the idea is to work with somebody to change the landscape of the mind from vulnerability to resilience. So we can change that around over so many sessions, and you become have a lot more inner strength to deal with things. You'll deal with things much better, and you just almost brush things to one side. When the bump in the road comes along.
I was speaking to somebody last night, and they said about I think they were I can't remember how old they were that they mentioned, but they said about developing the ability to be obnoxious. Obviously, without being
arrogant. There's this thing about the confidence thing, is being quietly confident and being over confident to the point that you're showing off is a slightly different thing. And it's the same with but self-love is another important thing. Some people get this mixed up when it comes to loving yourself. They think, oh, look at him or look at her.
He loves himself.
It's not. That's not what that's conceitedness. That's not what it comes from. Self-love is actually believing in yourself and having the inner strength to think you are capable of doing anything. And building that resilience to anything that actually comes in your way that's going to interfere with that. Because even if we do deal with the mind and we want to create something for the future, we're going to go out there. There's going to be a roadblock somewhere that we have to go round, or a hurdle to jump over. Things are going to be put in front of us, but if we have got that strength and resilience within, we'll overcome that much easier, and we won't give up.
A good analogy for that one, say ex-forces, and you carry your backpack every day. You carry that backpack every day because you're walking to and from work. One day from work, something happens and you need to do a detour and you need to go around, so you need to have things in your backpack that's going to be able to get you around it.
Absolutely.
And it's storing those tools in your mind for those. Yeah.
That's it. That's at the end of the day. That's a great analogy, Kyle. That is because. You know, and it's great to look at analogies, and there's lots of those little sayings.
Yeah, brilliant.
Fantastic, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the obvious one is like you said about the talking. Get it off your chest.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest sayings in the book. Where people tend to forget.
But it's so difficult to do it sometimes, isn't it? Like obviously you've been to that place.
Yeah.
I've been to that place.
Absolutely.
And I think, but letting people know that they're not alone.
That's the key thing. They're not alone. There's help out there. There's always somebody out there to help you. My whole purpose of my life is to help other people find their purpose.
Yes.
But that is overcoming the shit, if you want to put it from the past.
Wounded healer.
Yeah, and get past all that. So once you get past all that, so you become resilient, strong, confident, and you go out and create the future you want.
Yeah.
Because if you don't deal with those things, I guarantee you, 5 years down, you'll be creating the same from the past as you did before.
And you're going to get that negative cycle.
Yeah.
And
it's a vicious circle.
Yeah, even more difficult to break in when you're not and you're suppressing.
Absolutely. But yeah, it comes down to talking and being a good listener to listen to what people tell you without no judgment. It's very imperative you don't judge anybody for what goes on.
Yeah.
Because the moment they sense that, the moment they'll stop the sharper shop. You know, it doesn't matter how bad they've done things. You listen and you don't judge them because you weren't in their position. And you know, you may have your ideals about that, how they did or what they didn't do.
Yeah.
But you weren't in their position, and everybody has been through something. And the reason they behave in certain ways, and we see people who behave in really bad ways, don't we?
There's
a reason behind that.
Absolutely,
there's a reason behind that. That's why a lot of people in prisons who are sitting in prisons now, and they go in and they come up and reoffend, they haven't dealt with the initial problem that actually caused them to behave in a way to put them in prison in the first place.
Yeah.
It's all the mind. The mind's a powerful thing. You've got a fantastic mind. Your mind is amazing, Kyle. So is mine. Everyone is unique.
You are unique. Yeah.
You are unique. But we need to be able to use that mind to create the life we want, rather than create it from the traumas and the rubbish from the past. It is pretty straightforward stuff. And you need to simplify things in a way. You know, if you can take the complicated and make it simple and explain that to somebody on layman's terms, fantastic. So that means you can talk to somebody at their level, and it doesn't matter if it's a science professor who's got a lot more knowledge, he'll also understand the simplicity.
Yeah, doing your XYZs for the day to get you on to tomorrow, like.
But it is, you know, and it comes down to living your life, and you know, it's your life. It's your life to create for yourself. You live in that moment. And taking time for yourself is so important. I know you do that when you go out and you do your walks.
Yeah.
Because I've seen your videos, and we'll do one of them one day.
Yes.
I'll come with you one day. But that moment you take in nature, a little bit of time for yourself, because that time is so important. It's an interesting word, time, isn't it? When we arrive on this planet in human form, right? We are here as a physical being, right? So we are experiencing physicalities, and we are here. For a certain amount of time. Now, that time, we aren't got a clue how much that time is.
No.
You know, it could be tomorrow, it could be up tomorrow. We don't really know. So, people are not, sometimes not understanding the value of that time, because you got a block of time, and I got a block of time, and that block of time belongs to me, mine belongs, and yours belongs to you.
Yeah.
It's what you do with that time.
Yeah.
And we get distracted by things, all sorts of different things, but we do need to have that bit of time for ourselves.
Yeah.
Take ourselves away from everything, like you do when you go into nature for your walks.
Well, this is it. That's like the old construct with society now. More and more people are getting back into nature because the way that society is, they just like, I've had enough. I don't want to do this anymore. It's just flipping.
Well, it's become so commercialised, it's so materialistic, isn't it? And people want more and more things. It's interesting to see what's been going on lately, isn't it, with all these lockdown things and all this stuff and what's going on.
Yeah.
And you know, I've minimalised my life and down to a point that I actually have less burdens, because the more you have, the more burdens you have, because the more you have to service things. More rooms you have, the more you got to clean. You know, the bigger house, the more bills you got to pay.
The more pets you got, the more kids you got.
And so by simplifying your life and actually, you know, and living a more minimalistic life, at the end of the day, what do we really need? I mean, at the end of the day, we need shelter, food, shelter, water, and our health. You know, and once we've got that, the rest of the stuff is a bonus. You know, that's what's happened with the world. This shift has gone to materialism, and that creates all that creates is more tension, because people buy more and more things, create more debt, create more burdens for themselves, and it drives them nuts.
Because they are not like the people they see on the screens.
On the screen, and we've, you know, that the TV's had a lot to do with that. You know, we've got false idols out there, people, you know, this, that and the other. And so the world has become quite false, you know, so you need to get back to basics, do as you were doing. And I do. We go for walks in nature, you know, get grounded with things and understand that, you know, we are here, we're blessed to be here, we're blessed to be born in this human form and to make the most of our lives and just living in the moment sometimes.
Be grateful for what you've got. Be grateful
for what we've got.
Count your chickens. It is, like, to a certain extent, to count your chickens every day, it is, sometimes it does get a bit on top of you. But that's why, not just being grateful for what you've got, but then going out and being grateful of your surroundings, or just appreciating life, anything like that. Speaking to people. Do you mean, I got a whole flipping list of them that I try and stick to every day, and if I don't do anything on the list, or everything on the list, I've always got tomorrow. And that's the whole point of it.
It doesn't matter at the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about being, you know, in the moment, as I said, and it's all about, sometimes, you know, it's all about just actually not caring less sometimes.
Yeah, but it's like a fine line. It's like as if, when you say you don't care, it's not a case of...
It's not as if you don't care about people.
The English language is great, Nick.
Well, again, this is interesting, say, because they go back, the old saying was, first there was man, then there was the word. In actual fact, you know, when you really analyse that, the word can be so destructive, because it can be spun around in different ways.
And how it's interpreted, is your perspective of it. That
the absolute truth,
perspective.
you know, the absolute truth. Because how do we know what somebody have said is the truth? Well, we actually, if it doesn't come from the horse's mouth, like we're having this conversation now. Anybody's watching this now, this is coming from the horse's mouth. What we say is what we
gospel,
say, right? They're not getting to. Oh, did you see that video with Kyle and Mark? And he said this, and they've said this slightly different. Or did you see the video? Next thing you know, it's gone 4 people down the line, and they've changed it through the interpretation.
The Chinese whispers,
it's a completely different meaning. But when you see somebody speaking straight from the horse's mouth, you know that's the truth. It's coming from them, isn't it? You know it is what it is. But when you go out into nature and you look around you, you observe what's around you, you can honestly know what is the truth. The absolute truth is I can see that through your window there that the trees are green. If I tried to tell you that they were blue, that wouldn't be the truth.
No.
So, you know, this is where words can be completely manipulated, and a lot of people don't realise it could be actually a belief system. It's full of little lies as well. That they've been told something by somebody and they believe that. It's actually not the truth. So it's
I used to get told when I was younger that some little white lies are good, but then that adds to the whole secretive, not getting stuff off your chest thing, innit?
It builds up then, doesn't it? Because you're building that.
You're comfortable with telling those little white lies then. And
I think the ultimate thing is always to try and be as truthful as you can. You can actually soften the blow with somebody, you know, by using a little bit of terminology. Maybe you want to just, because you think, well, if I
well, it's different. Like obviously, a childhood friend, you speak to them flipping like whatever, I don't know, because you play hell with each other, but obviously a new client it would be a bit softer kind of thing.
As I said, I've been with the last 25 years has been massively focusing on the human spirit, mental health, and all human behaviour. Why do people behave in certain ways? And it all comes down to what we spoke to earlier. We get programmed that way. Our environment programs us to believe certain things, and it all becomes part of us. There may be little lies in there, as I said, but there's traumas in there, and it could be little tiny ones. It could be something that somebody said something to you. You really took that to heart, and it's still within you. You need to clear that out. And it could be big ones, like somebody being raped or something. I mean, they're big traumas, small traumas, but at the end of the day, it is actually coming down to saying, look, I got some problems with my life. My mental health isn't good. Can you help me with that? Can we, put your hand up. You come to me to do that. But you've got to be 100% be willing to do that, and you may have to go through some stuff, because I know you've done some work on yourself. On your own self, haven't you? And you've had to go through things to get to the other side. And you just got to. It's
a journey. It is, and like
it's a massive journey.
With the time and how you use it and whatnot. Like after my attempted suicide, the morning that I woke up, I was just grateful, and I was like, right, okay, this is where it turns around now, and it's to a point now where I've got my own company and whatever.
And that's testimony to you, because you recognise that the following morning, something within you saying, hang on a sec, this isn't right, I've got to do something about that. And sometimes, like, I always use the expression all the time, not so much when it comes to things like that, but when you know people say, oh yeah, I've always wanted to run my own business, like, and then 10 years ago, that was 10 years ago, and now it's become 20, and now it's 30, and they're still working in the same job. And I said, you know, I always say to people, you know, no, people don't do anything unless their arse is on fire.
The biggest bit of advice my mate gave me, before I'd done my first video, I've mentioned this many times, he said, just do it.
Yeah.
Because I was obviously scared about what I'm going to sound like on the video and what people are going to think about it. He said, just do it, get it out there. And so I did. And now, it's snowballed into
That's
so
what it's
much
about
more.
at the end of the day. It was funny enough, I was talking this morning about the videos to Jamie this morning. I said to Jamie this morning, and he wants to do something like this.
Yeah.
And he's having some problems with it. I don't know how to speak in front of people. But the most important thing is that you just hit the head right on the nail there. It's not caring what other people think.
Yeah.
That's huge, because we are...
But obviously, to a certain extent, it's like, you just go, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not a case of you take it on board and you get really... Because that's massive with social media now. You're putting something out into the world, expect all angles of criticism to come your way, but you've got to prepare yourself, and this is where you build these tools of resilience.
Well, he says the tools of resilience, where he just goes, so what, you know?
Yeah. Okie dokie. Yeah.
Actually, but it does come to, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it anyway. You're absolutely right, really. You're absolutely right as regards to that. You know, it's always in the doing of something.
Yeah.
How do you learn to do anything unless you do it? You've got to do it, you've got to mess up, and you've got to say, oh, I didn't know that wasn't quite right, I'll do it again next time. But you mustn't be in this situation where, all right, then I did it, or I didn't sound right, I'm just going to give up.
Yeah.
You've got to keep going. You've got to keep going all the time, and it's the same with anything. You imagine now, if you had a baby, and then all of a sudden the baby takes his first steps, and it falls over, bangs his head on the corner of the table, right? Yeah. And mother says, "Oh, don't do that again." You never walk. Yeah. You know, you've got to make mistakes to learn. That's what it's about, and you mustn't be afraid. I've also found, you may have noticed this as well, that you know, through the schooling period when, you know, when you go up from you know, into the 11-year-old, and you've got 18-year-old boys and all that.
Oh yeah, into the comprehensive.
There's a little bit of comprehensive. You go into that, and you get a little bit shy and whatever, and you get past a bit of bullying, and you're not a strong person, you know, and then you get afraid to make mistakes, and then you won't try anything. Yeah. And then because that will completely
knocking your confidence.
Knocks your confidence. You knocks your confidence down to anything, and then unless you do something, you know, it's like. I had this conversation the other day with somebody, Kyle, and I was saying, look, you know, you do this for your job, and I do this for my job. If we swapped over, right, would you be confident from day one in doing what I'm doing with confidence? Well, you wouldn't, because you've never done it before. Yeah. To build that confidence, you have to keep doing it. Like, how many videos have you done now? I mean, you've done so many videos, and they're probably getting better and better and better.
Well, I'd like to think so.
Because the confidence is growing from it.
Yeah.
You know, you're
more comfortable with
and you're getting more confidence sitting in front of the camera.
Get comfortable in your own skin. Yeah. You can't run away from yourself. No. Start loving yourself. Start treating your body like a fucking temple.
Exactly. You know, and everybody out there who's watching this video now with us today, you know, you've got to understand, you are an amazing human being. Yeah. You are absolutely phenomenal. You are priceless. You are priceless. You can't put a price on it. We spoke about this the other day. Yeah. There's no price you can put on somebody's head. You're beyond priceless, but you are valuable to yourself. Yes. You're valuable. You treat yourself, you know, with kid gloves. You're valuable. You think well of yourself. If you think about it, at the end of the day, why would you want to think bad of yourself anyway? Yeah. You think well of yourself. You know, if you're a horse in a race, would you back yourself? That's the type of thing. You've got to back yourself, but that all comes down to working on yourself. Right back to the beginning of this conversation, what we've gone throughout the conversation of working on just get rid of those viruses, upgrade your mind, get a strong mind, get your mind so you're in control of your mind, so you're running it, running you. Yeah. Once you get to that stage,
get out of that flight mode kind of thing.
That's it. Like. And once you've done that and you clear that out, you become strong again, and you have that inner belief in yourself, then you can start focusing on, well, okay, where do I want to be in 3 years? Where do I want to be in 5 years? What do I want to do? Is this what I wanted to do? No, actually, for this job isn't what I wanted to do. Actually, I wanted to do this. You go back to your child again then, because you ask a child, a 5-year-old, what he wants to be. I want to be an astronaut. He'll have no problems telling you that.
Yes, yeah.
Because he believes it's possible.
Yeah, our kids, that's one of the things that in the school and colleges that they like to do, obviously it's a bit different in colleges, but with the school and the younger ones, how are they supposed to know what they want to be when they don't know who they are yet?
Well, yeah, the being and the doing, it becomes the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You be what you want to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
that's
but it is you go into being that to manifest that on the outside.
Yeah.
Through your personality. As I said, at the end of the day, every single person, it doesn't matter who you are totally unique. You're an amazing person. There's not another one like you on the planet, right? And you need to love yourself. But first of all, let's look at the garbage that's been installed in there, because the old computer analogy was garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So let's clear that out. Let's clear the rubbish out. Let's get some work on that. That could take 5 sessions. It could be 20 sessions.
Yeah.
But once you clear that out and you get that strength and you go into more coaching mode, then
Yeah.
you're coaching people and say, what do you want to do? Let's plan for this, let's plan for that, let's plan for this, because now you get focused
Yeah.
on the moment. You're creating this moment. You're not creating from that rubbish. You're creating from stuff. You've got clear perception of where you want to go.
Yeah.
Whether it's to start a business, or whether it's you always wanted to travel to this part of the world.
Learning something new.
Learning something new.
Yeah.
And the great thing about this, the journey, as you said, and it is, life is a journey. We're never going to be a finished article.
No.
We're always going to keep learning all the time.
Yeah,
You should want to keep
always
learning
growing.
right up to the last breath in your body, whether that be 90, 85. It was a beautiful sunny day, and I'd gone to the shop to deliver some stuff, and the sun was shining. There was a gentleman there working for the council,
Right.
with his fizzy on, and he had his litter picking, put the stuff in the bag, you know what I mean. And so I got it, said good morning to him. I said, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm okay. The guy must be about 55, and I said, do you enjoy what you do? Yeah, it's quite peaceful. He said, well, yeah, enjoy that piece. But do you realise that if you wanted to, you could get yourself a degree while you're getting paid by the council? And he looked at me like this. I said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, if you get an online course and you put some earphones in, you could be listening. The council could technically be paying for you to get a degree.
Yeah.
Because really, there's
your perspective
of it.
Yeah.
And he said, what normally these people say that sort of age, he said, oh, that's interesting, but I'm too old to learn. And this is what a lot of people keep saying all the time when they get to a certain, I'm too old to learn.
Yeah, come out of school, I've done learning now.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's a constant thing.
Yeah.
You should want to learn something every day. Like today now, inadvertently, both of us have realised something, whether we really realise it or not. You've learned something from me and I've learned something from you.
Yeah.
In this discussion here today. Whether we realise it or not.
Yeah.
But it's been alert and having stimulating conversations with other people that'll give you a little nugget that I didn't realise that. He said that. I said, wait, say it, I can use that. And vice versa.
Yeah.
But it is all about that, talking and wanting to learn all the time. You've got to keep going all the time. It is a massive, fantastic journey, and you just got to keep learning all the time. And when you learn something new, right, you get a sense of achievement from that as well. That lifts your spirits up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, and we live in a world of opposites, don't we? You know, why would you want to feel down? I want to feel up. You know what I mean? If I have a conversation with you,
but then that's where obviously like you go down the path of drugs and stuff like that, and people look for that high instead of, you know what I mean.
Fundamentally, what I discovered down the years, and all this work I've done down the years, and loads of people I've worked with, because we're in this materialistic world, people look for the answers on the outside.
Yeah.
Well, the answers are on the inside. If you're at peace and you love yourself from the inside, you don't want anything on the outside. You don't need material things. But what's happened in society is we've created a sales type of society where people are buying things. And I've seen people will have a brand new sofa and spend £3,000 on a brand new sofa, and it's a month on the road saying, I don't like that anymore, I'll have another one. I give it away.
Yeah.
It's like, you basically, you can have a little high, whether it's from buying something, whether it's a drug, whether it's getting drunk, whether it's gambling. You get a little high. It could be anything. You could be addicted to bloody pornography. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You get those highs. You look for something on the outside. Because you're unhappy on the inside.
Yeah.
Once you resolve that inside, you won't seek for anything on the outside because it's all within you. You love yourself, and you won't be. All any addictions will fall away. Because you don't need that, because once you're happy with yourself and you love yourself and you come down to that, you clear that rubbish out from the back and you're present.
Got rid of your viruses.
Get rid of all that. Once you then you can see life ahead of you. You're
doing
calm,
those good things for yourself.
And everybody's capable. And everybody's capable of doing so many. There's infinite possibilities out there. And, growing your confidence again to say, do you know what, I can do this. I want to do this, I want this business, or I want to do that, I want to visit you, I want to do this, I want to do that. Then, go and do it, because as you come back again, it's life, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You could say, I'll do that next year. and then something may happen to you before you get there.
Yeah, I would say what worked for me, along with just do it, pen and paper.
Yeah.
Write it down. If good exercise the other day, you use a suicide note. Write an anti-suicide note. Something that will show you. Do you mean
the opposite?
Yeah, the opposite. Yeah, but with writing, just sometimes you can't speak, because I used to find that really bad. Going to speak and it would just nothing wants to come out.
Yeah.
So I pen and paper, write down how I was feeling, and then read that out.
Yeah.
And then I was able to talk about it.
You know, that works for you.
Yeah.
That works for you. It does work, putting things on pen to paper. It's what a lot of people have done in the past, is to actually write a journal, write things down, and write things. And it's different for everybody.
Yeah, it is.
Some people are very good at expressing.
But this is it. This is what's so brilliant about everybody's individuality.
Absolutely, that works for you. That may not work for somebody else, but it works for you. But it's still worth telling them to try that exercise, because it may work, it may not. But it always is about doing. It's always about in the doing. The more you do things, the more you feel alive. As simple as that. You know, it's always in the doing.
Brilliant.
It's like, you know, I can't do this. I haven't done it before. Well, how are you going to learn to do it unless you do it?
Don't focus on what you can't do, focus on what you can do.
That's an interesting thing, because with the t-shirts, what do you want to do? How can I? You know, I have a t-shirt, it's a good one you can have, it's a t-shirt with can't on it, with a line through the T at the end.
Right, yeah,
so because I can. You know, because that is a mantra, an affirmation to yourself. If you keep saying, I can't, then you're programming your mind to say you can't. If you say
creating your own viruses.
I can't. Yeah, of course you are actually creating more viruses to why you can't do something. Yeah. So it's a vicious circle.
I love that analogy with the brain. Viruses is brilliant. That is.
Well, it's because the brain is a processor anyway. Because the brain is the main processor, but it's more than the heart. Actually, is more powerful than the brain anyway. Yeah. You know, and we work as a whole being. Everything about us all works in conjunction. It's pretty phenomenal, really. How it works, because you know, what's the mind? Is the mind the brain, or is it the heart? Well, you know, that's a hard distinction, but it's the whole being, isn't it? Yeah. The brain is the processor. It's the master weaver.
You need the two to.
They all working in conjunction. It's a fantastic system, you know, and we have to understand how amazing we are as human beings. Yeah. And I think people have also lost sight of that as well, because of again, it's all false stuff on the outside, and it's a lot of, you know, buy this, buy that, materialistic stuff. Well, they actually just get back down to you know, get grounded and get back to, like we were talking about, get out in nature. You know, let's just get back grounded. But when I work with my clients, I say, we're going to do some work, aren't we? Yes. With you, I'm looking forward to working with you on that, because you've done fantastic work on your own. You've become aware and mindful.
Well, this is it. Let's learn some more.
But let's learn some more. Yeah. And you know, I'm no doubt when I work with you, by doing the work with you, I will learn something from that as well. So it's a fantastic exchange to see you growing as a human being, and to move forward in your life. That will give me fantastic gratification, you know, and you know, it's a sense of well-being for the both of us at the end of the day. And you know, and it's interesting, the word well-being, isn't it? The word well-being is being well, isn't it? And it seems to be at the moment in the world what's been going on. We're not practicing well-being, we're practicing ill-being
with the different aspects of health. Yeah. Physical health, mental health, emotional health, and it's just health. Yeah. Try and be healthy all round. It's not just what you eat. No. It's not just what you put into your body and your mouth. It's what you put into your mind.
Everything. The mind is so powerful, and it can achieve anything if you work at that mind and get it to work for you. Yeah. There's nothing it can't achieve. It's phenomenal. You know, well, we see the progression of the years. You can go 10 years back. How technology's come on 10 years. Yeah. You know, you go back. You know, I don't know, when I was young, we had the old-fashioned telephones. You pick up and dial in them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we had 6 digits on the phone number. There was only 4 then. So you know, and people, you go back a generation before that, and they can see mobile phones today. They're totally amazed how that's come along. So things are advancing so fast, aren't they? You know, technology. And it just goes to show how we can achieve things. Yeah. From the power of our mind and how we can visualize things and make things happen. But that's not beyond anybody. Anybody can actually achieve or do anything they want if they apply their mind to it and have a clear vision. Yeah. But it mustn't be from muddy waters.
No.
Because that's muddy waters from the past. It's muddy waters. That's got to be clear. The muddy waters have to be clear water so we can see where we're going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you got to get your.
But yeah, the mental health thing, as you said, it's like, because this is all obviously about mental health. Let's go back a little bit before we finish. The mental health thing. We have to be very careful that you don't get labelled with mental health as having permanent problems with your mental health.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that's easy for that to happen.
Everybody has mental health issues all the time. If you feel anxious about something, that is a form of mental health, and it's just having those coping mechanisms and what have you in place.
The techniques and things.
And,
you know, at the end of the day,
building that resilience.
Yeah. We want you, instead of having a mental health that impairs us from doing anything and be stuck with that label, we need to work at the depth to sort that out, so we got good mental health.
Yes.
Rather than bad mental health.
Yes.
You know, and it's quite easy to stigmatise that, because you get it with all sorts of labels, don't you? You know, this person.
And then it comes down to perspective.
Once you label with something, you know, and you repeat that often enough, and the doctor keeps telling you this often enough, it becomes part of you then, because you've accepted it as part of you.
Yeah. Instead of believing in yourself, you've taken it as gospel.
You've taken it all in.
Yeah.
And it's quite easy for that. But as I said, you know, I'm looking forward to doing some work with you, Kyle. It's going to be really good, and I think it's going to be phenomenal. I think you're going to get great results, and I'm going to be so pleased to see you progress. And I think I just sense and I know that we're going to have a really good long-term relationship here.
Brilliant.
And we're going to be able to help lots and lots of people.
Indeed.
You know, so you know, as I said, I've got my one-day course I do, which is the initial starting point for people to come along.
Yeah,
and
I'll pop the link in the description.
And you just tell your story and get it off your chest, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then in the afternoon, then we do a little bit of hypnotherapy before we start. In the afternoon, we flip the whole thing around and say, okay, that was then, this is now. What are you going to create from now on? And it's just a little gentle exercise initially to get people involved, to understand that they can do these things, and it's within themselves. And then I would normally, if they want to do some extra treatment along the way, I would do treatment at discounted rates, because they become a life member. Brilliant. And they become part of the group.
Yeah.
And it's all about helping people, advancing people in their journey to live a phenomenal life, because you know, that's what we're here for. We're here to enjoy ourselves, live phenomenal lives. We're here to live. We're not here just to simply exist.
No.
We're here to live our lives to the full, and I want to help as many people as I can. This is why I come back to saying, people say, who's your client? Every single human being is a client, really, because everybody, as I said before,
you learn from everyone. It's like, do you mean somebody that something minor happened in the street you would pick up on, or brilliant.
But it is like, life is for living, as you said, live in the moment. So you know, thank you for
more than welcome.
Inviting me today, and it's been a pleasure to spend time with you, and to do this talk today, and really enjoyable and very stimulating.
Thank you.
We've both learned something from each other again today.
100%. Yeah. Brilliant. Thanks again, Mark. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Look after yourself.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, Kyle.
Thank you for stopping by. We'll see you again soon. Bye.